Hi everyone, today we're discussing how to overcome FOMO, the fear of missing out, as well as how to stay focused. Let me start with a story. A father was teaching his son how to ride a bicycle up the hill. The son was pedaling very well as they reached the top. However, at the top of the hill, there were two dogs behind a closed gate. On seeing them approaching, the father and the son, the dogs began to bark incessantly. Just as they were going to crest the hill, the son misbalanced and put his feet down. The father asked his son, "Why did you misbalance even though we had already reached the top of the hill?" The son answered, "Dad, the noise from the dogs distracted me." Like the sun, we are surrounded by noise and distracted on a daily basis. However, the noise you and I are surrounded by is not necessarily barking dogs, but incessant information that assaults our senses on a daily basis. This mind of ours loves distraction, anything to keep it busy and entertained. An article in Forbes magazine stated that the average adult consumes 5 times more information every day than their counterpart 50 years ago. Further, we spend as much as 12 hours a day in front of TVs and computers, and that's while all at home. Given that our brains can process about 120 bits per second, filters that help us choose which information of pay. Okay, let me start that here. Given that our brains can process about 120 bits per second, that helps us choose which information to pay attention to. Think about how you can drive hundreds of miles without remembering any of the scenery around you. Is working overtime to determine what is important to our survival. We are overburdened with information. Information is fed to us masquerading as facts, research and opinions. We are bombarded 24 hours a day all year round, and you cannot hide from it. It's on our phones, tablets, laptops and televisions. It's on billboards and even on the packaging of the food we eat. With all this noise, our senses are overwhelmed. We are inundated with subtle influences that is impossible to claim to make an independent, impartial choice. This noise becomes addictive, and it's known to even lead to more unhappiness and less well-being. We live our lives according to a facade, and we find the need to constantly compare ourselves. We find we are in a constant state of FOMO. We are fear of missing out. We are caught up with the pace of life rather than the rhythm of life. We are all brilliant at multitasking, not recognizing that it's actually contributing to further stress and anxiety. Due to the excess stimulation, we get bored easily. Our attention span shortens and our ability to focus diminishes. We therefore seek more intense or frequent stimulation, seeking the next high, which means more information, fixes, as we may call them. And we don't get enough of that fix. It leads to frustration and irritation. There's an expectation to live up to the subtle requirements of the media platform that one is utilizing. Even if it has no bearing on our personal lives, it becomes stressful, providing rare moments of satisfaction based on the number of views and likes we get. It reaffirms the need for external affirmation and appreciation, stagnating us further. We imbibe the emotions inherent in the events, even though they have no actual bearing on our lives. This noise from the various screens of input fill up our time, space, and definitely our minds. With the current wars that are going on, some of us are caught up in a whirlwind of absolute terror. The sounds and images fill us with dread, and subconsciously we go into a fight, flight, fright mode. We debate whether the government has done enough or too little. Angry and afraid, we don't know why. As a doctor, I see people who are depressed, anxious, and are completely caught up in the noise that surrounds them. The feelings of sadness, frustration, and anger are completely manufactured by the information the mind is fed. A diet of the most traumatic and gut-wrenching, sensationalist stories that the media can provide. We start living in this alternative world with social media jargon such as walls, likes, memes, tweets, and influences. The information, rather than allowing the person to move forward, creates a sense of hopelessness, helplessness, and we end up stagnating. It feels futile to act, and we stagnate even further, waiting for the external world to change rather than being the agent of change in our lives. More and more, it is necessary to ask patients what they watch on the various screens and what they listen to on a daily basis. And it's not a surprise to hear people say they watch the crime channels on the television on a daily basis, and they wonder why they feel anxious. They feel irritable, and the car radios are tuned into channels that provide breaking news every half hour. That Minecraft is the most popular video game downloaded in the world, and it's marketed as a game where you build, explore, gather resources, and participate in combat of all things. And violence among school kids is on the rise. The various social media platforms, besides keeping up with the various friends, informs us what various celebrities had for breakfast, what clothes they wear, and where they were spotted. No wonder then we are so busy and we cannot keep up with our own daily lives. It becomes necessary to highlight, to recommend to patients to avoid screen time and information that is irrelevant. News regarding political parties and their infighting, celebrities and their personal lives, sports teams and their latest acquisitions. Beyond the news, time spent on the various forms of social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. should be strictly monitored and limited. This may mean actively sometimes cancelling the contracts, deleting the apps, and for that matter, utilizing only for work purposes, and avoiding the download of all these entertainment videos that are sent on our social media groups. Make the latest events non-events, be it the latest political saga, sporting event, or celebrity news. Recognize it just doesn't matter in your life. A counter-argument sometimes is that we will not be aware of what's important and relevant in the world if we avoid media. Trust me, if it's important and relevant, news will find its way to you, be it via friends, family, or the workplace. Employ discipline over your body by avoiding such spaces that bombard you with information. When it proves difficult to avoid, control your mind and thoughts in such spaces. A major amount of time is spent fitting into the status quo. Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Workweek book, and The Tools of the Titans, another book, places so much value on his time that he will not even watch the news, even to follow up with presidential elections. He then decides, interestingly, who he's going to vote for based on the information provided by a few trusted friends regarding the candidates. FOMO, making your goals in life far more powerful than the latest scores and celebrity news. That's what we got to do. When we watch others at play or having apparent fun, we need to create our own play and our own fun. Make your life play and fun rather than living in the shadow of someone else's life. Those who have given up social media describe, interestingly, initially, feeling as if they are going through a mental withdrawal. Some would argue even an emotional withdrawal. The avoidance of these various platforms of information makes one realize how important a piece of information may seem at that particular time. However, it is interesting to note that after a while, that piece of same information was absolutely irrelevant. This provides the mind with time and space. They have given up the feeling of missing out. Yet in time, there's a peace and calm as they recognize that they have stripped out of their lives the temporary, the ordinary, and the mundane. Instead of listening to what the world wants, listen to what you want. We all need to learn to tune into who we truly are rather than what the world makes us out to be. Ryan Holiday, in his book, Stillness is the Key, describes Lucius Seneca as Rome's most influential power broker, greatest living playwright, and its wisest philosopher in the late 1st century AD. Seneca had written, "You may be sure that you are at peace with yourself when no noise reaches you, when no word shakes you out of yourself, whether it be flattery or a threat, or merely an empty sound buzzing around you with unmeaning sin." Make your life dreams the most audacious, amazing, crazy dreams, so that the noise that we are surrounded by becomes ordinary and mundane. We then recognize the noise as just noise. The late President of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, spoke of what he was able to do in prison for the 27 years that he was incarcerated. He says, when he left prison, he had time, or he did not have time. However, while he was in prison, he had time to read, think, reflect, and introspect. Thus, Mandela's banishment from society and his incarceration paradoxically allowed him to focus on gaining mastery over his mind and emotions, hence enabling him to lead his country to freedom. So make those goals and dreams powerful beyond measure. Aim for the stars, and even if you land on the moon, at least you got out of this planet. Like that child on the bike, let not that noise distract you. Until next time, take care, and feel free to subscribe to this channel to see similar such videos in the future. Bye.